Hello and welcome to the Unshakeable Co-Parent Podcast. I am Sarah Komoto, your host. I am a parenting, co-parenting and confidence mentor, and I talk about all things co-parenting, some things parenting, usually how to become unshakable AF and everything in between. So in today's episode, I'm talking about something a little bit different that I don't really talk about or cover publicly out here, but within my programs I talk about it a little bit. So this is all about emotional detachment. Now, you may have detached emotionally from your co-parent, physically, definitely, but how about emotional detachment in other areas of your life? And what I mean specifically is emotionally detaching from what others think of you. So if you have this good girl, people-pleasing vein in your body, like most of us do, then you're going to want to tune into this. So grab yourself a tea, coffee, kombucha, champagne, and let's get started. Usually when you are a good girl, people pleaser, or maybe reformed, you have lived a life where you are wearing a mask. Not in the same way that certain personality types wear a mask, but in a way where you have been whatever anyone around you has wanted you to be, for fear of, not being accepted for who you are, or being rejected, or being abandoned, whatever it may be, not being liked. Everyone wants to be liked in general, but for whatever reason, you opted to, step into that role of the people pleaser. Like so many women that cross paths with me, most of the women I work with identify as a people pleaser or reformed people pleaser, definitely good girl. Because of society, because of how we were raised. Also, our parents didn't know what they didn't know. Being emotionally healthy is just more of a new thing these days. Now there are more tools and resources out there. People are more aware, especially of their unhealthy traits, let's say. So emotionally detaching, what I mentioned in the intro, from what people think of you, everyone knows that that's something that we should be doing, quote unquote, should be doing. You shouldn't care what your co-parent thinks of you. You shouldn't care what the man down the road thinks of you. You shouldn't care what your boss thinks of you. You shouldn't care about what anyone thinks of you, because you are self-validated and you only care about what you think of you. That's the only thing that matters. Now, we all know that. But then how do you do it? How do you give zero fucks? How do you start giving zero fucks about what people think of you, and not in a way with attitude? It's just like releasing other people's opinions of you. How do you do that? Because when you are so wrapped up in what others think of you, you're not being real or true, and you don't accept yourself for who you are. So if you don't accept yourself for who you are, how can you expect others to accept you when they don't even know who you truly are? If you keep that side of you secret and hidden for fear of judgment, then you're not being real. And it really does sabotage all of your relationships and all of your interactions when you are not able to be open and honest and real with yourself first and foremost. Because it only really matters to you what you think of you. Other people are always going to have opinions, especially when it doesn't line up with, who you are as a person, doesn't line up with their image or view or perception of you, or the story that they've built up in their mind about who you are as a person. When you release yourself from what others think of you, and you truly step into, the only person's opinion is mine. If people like me, they like me. If they dislike me, they dislike me. If you step out into the world with that kind of thinking, because you know that you always act out of integrity, you make decisions that are aligned in your life, you never do anything to hurt anyone intentionally, then who you are is not up for debate. The people who have a problem with you growing and evolving are the people who eventually do shift themselves out of your life if you continue on this journey. Now, if you're listening to this, you are on some kind of journey. Maybe you were on one for many years and then it got disrupted by, your relationships, your unhealthy relationships, romantic relationships I'm talking about here. And usually if we have unhealthy romantic relationships, we usually have unhealthy other relationships like friendships or maybe relationships within your family. But when we're able to emotionally detach from other people's opinions, that is true freedom. So being who you are, being vulnerable, allowing yourself to expose yourself to those around you, then that gives people an opportunity to either be on board or ship out. And that's okay. A lot of people in the world are so scared of their circle getting smaller, so scared and afraid of not being accepted. I mean, it's human nature. We want to be part of something. We have to be part of something, some kind of community, some kind of tribe. But is it real if, you're liked based on, certain conditions, and you're liked based on who you are wanting other people to think you are? This isn't necessarily going to resonate with everyone, but I know it's probably resonating with someone right now. And they know that if they emotionally detach from what certain individuals think of them, and they can really self-validate, which is a journey. It doesn't just happen overnight, and just thinking about it definitely isn't going to make it happen. Then you really do get to step further into your power. Is it easy? No. Is it worth it? Yes. And that's exactly what I guide my clients through. It's taking those tiny little baby steps towards who they truly are meant to be, because everything does fall into place for you once you take those meticulous, intentional baby steps. And it's not just always about doing. I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to do this and that. No, it's about taking that step back and stop doing certain things that really do not serve you and really do not move you forward. We get into these patterns and habits that are just comfortable. Even if they seem hard, they are uncomfortably comfortable. Now, we don't know what we don't know, and especially if you've never done any real work on yourself or ever had a coach, you're not going to know your blind spots. You're not going to know where there's room for improvement and growth. When it's just you, me, myself, and I, then, we can convince ourselves of anything. But when you have some awareness that you have some blind spots and you actually get help with that, that will accelerate your journey. I don't even want to say healing journey. It's not going to accelerate your healing journey. We are beyond healing. We are moving forward at light speed. You want to live your life. You are going for your life. You're going for your freedom. You're going for your peace. But emotionally detaching will really serve you and accelerate that process for you. But you've got to know your blind spots. And, as the definition states, your blind spots, you don't know about them because you're blind to them. You don't see them. That's why it's so crucial to have a community of like-minded people who are either where you want to be or on their way to being where you want to be. There's a wealth of knowledge with women who get together to rise up despite and regardless of the challenges that are thrown their way. You might have friends and family, they're great. You may have people in your life you can go to, that's also great. But sometimes, unless someone has literally stood and walked in your shoes and experienced very similar things to you, been in those very dark places, and someone who is aspiring to become this, my word is unshakable. Other people have unfuckwithable. Some people have formidable. Some people have vibrant, whatever it may be. Passionate, confident, badass. Whatever your definition of that woman, you know she's deep inside. And that little flame is there. That needs to be ignited. Now, is it going to be ignited by doing the same thing? and hanging around with the same people? Or do you need to be activated, energized by being around maybe a different set of people? Doesn't mean you have to abandon your friends and family, but we need to sit at tables and get inside rooms where we can really be nurtured, we can be supported, and our growth can be accelerated through having that guidance, having that support, having someone shine a light on those blind spots, because no one's going to shine a light on them unless you get into the right spaces in front of the right people. So, with that being said, this is just a quickie episode. Emotionally detaching. You may think you've emotionally detached, but if you're still getting triggered, if you're still very emotional, if you're still worrying about being your real, true, authentic self, then there's definitely more work to do around emotionally detaching. And I'm not saying that there's ever a stop point to emotionally detaching. It's not like as soon as you emotionally detach, that's it, life opens up for you. I think it's an ongoing process, and it has layers, and it depends on the dynamic that you have with the individual who you're trying to emotionally detach from. But from my perspective, emotionally detaching, it's not contingent on the person. It's a way of being. You can't emotionally detach from this person over here on the left, and you still care about what these people on the right think. Once you've done that work, once you've peeled back those layers, and you know where your blind spots are, that's when by default you will stop giving any fucks about what people think of you, and that's when you will go and gain that momentum in your journey. Go for the things that you want. There'll be nothing blocking you, nothing stopping you. The only thing that can stop you when you can emotionally detach is you. That's all. Okay, so with that, know that it is absolutely possible to emotionally detach. It's absolutely possible to get what you want out of life. It's absolutely possible to fulfill the things that you want to fulfill in life, but you've got to know what those are first. Otherwise, what's the point in emotionally detaching? There isn't, is there? If you want to stay small and stay stuck, keep caring or considering what other people think of you. And again, I'm not saying it's necessarily easy. It's something you have to be intentional about and make that decision each and every day that I am really happy with who I am and where I am in my life. I am still on my journey. I'm still doing the things I need to do, but I am making those baby steps and moving in this direction over here to go for what I want. And nobody is going to stop me or get in my way. Okay? If that resonated with you, please let me know over at Instagram at Unshakeable Co-Parenting. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Share it with whoever you think needs to hear this, because sharing is caring, and I'm trying to grow this channel. I'm trying to grow this podcast so that, the right people hear what they need to hear at the right time. And I believe that, whoever's listening needs to hear this, because I'm thinking about you when I'm saying these words. Okay, so it's an exciting journey. It's fun when you know how, when you get around the right people who are going to help you rise the fuck up. And I'm here for all of it. Okay, so with that being said, if you have any feedback on the podcast, please let me know over at Unshakeable Co-Parenting. If you feel called to do a review, please do. That would be great to help the channel. And I have all kinds of different offerings for all different kinds of levels, stages, budgets, whether you want the full transformation, the full shebang, or you're just looking for something small to sink your teeth into at your own pace. There is something for everyone. So I'm very excited about what's coming up, because now that's something new that I've put out there, different kind of offers. So with that being said, I'm going to love you and leave you. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.